Welcome back to We Need to Talk. Of course, this is the show that looks at football on the internet over the past 7 days. Actually, it's only over the past 4 days. 4 days that's seen Sergio Ramos left out of the Spain squad for Euro 2020.
Sergio Ramos, nuestro capitán, que ha decidido que no esté en esta lista, que no venga al europeo. Es evidente que es porque no ha podido competir a lo largo de esta temporada, especialmente desde enero, en las condiciones adecuadas. No solo no ha podido competir, sino yo creo que no ha podido ni entrenar con el grupo, con lo cual no ha sido fácil.
Atletico Madrid celebrating winning La Liga. And Lille celebrating that remarkable League title. That was a mouthful. Anyway, today we need to talk about the England squad. Okay, you guys smashed the like goal on Friday's We Need to Talk when I was looking back at our pre-season predictions. So let's set another one. 4,000 likes. And we'll do a predictions video for Euro 2020. I'll get all of the Football Daily boys to submit their predictions on a We Need to Talk special. And then at the end of the tournament, we'll be able to mug each other off. Anyway, today we're going to be reacting, as the title suggests, to Gareth Southgate's England squad announcement for Euro 2020. Now, interestingly, Gareth Southgate has chosen to name an expanded training group for this one. So there's a lot of names to get through. England aren't the only nation that's done this. We've seen the Dutch do this. I think we saw Austria do this originally, but they've now cut it back. So yeah, let's just crack on and look at the players involved. Okay, let's have a look at this squad. Like I said, it is extended. It's extended to 33 names. There's a big old squad, and that has to be cut down to 26 names, of course, by midnight on June the 1st. Let's start with the goalkeepers, and I'm gutted. I'm not going to lie, for Nick Pope. He's obviously had to have minor surgery, and that must be devastating because he is probably in contention to be a starter if he doesn't get injured. Dean Henderson, Sam Johnson, obviously coming in to replace Nick Pope, Jordan Pickford, Southgate's favourite, and Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale's an interesting one. I don't think he would have made the grade in the 26, but you know, he's obviously uncapped and was being called up because he's played in those youth sides. Don't think he's had the best season, to be honest with you. I know that he did pick up the Young Player of the Award and the Player of the Year award at Sheffield United, but still, I would go my three: Dean Henderson, Johnston, and Pickford in goal. No major surprises, though, in the goalkeeping department. As we head into the back line, the first name that stands out is Trent Alexander-Arnold. At least he's in the 33, boys. If he hadn't have been in the 33, I would have been out of that window because he has been quite simply monumental in the back end of the season for Liverpool. I think he's probably been their best player since the turn of the year. Maybe the best right back in the league since the turn of the year. Him, sort of João Cancelo, Kyle Walker, potentially. But, you know, this is a player who's sort of in the 99 percentile for key passes, assists, expected assists, shot-creating actions, progressive passes. He has to be on the plane in the 26 as well, not just in the 33. We've also got Ben Chilwell, very expected in there. Connor Cody. I wouldn't take Connor Cody in my 26, but obviously Gareth is going to take Connor Cody if he wants to play that 3 at the back system because he plays it so regularly with Wolves. An interesting name that's been included here, Ben Godfrey, one of the uncapped England players going to this training squad. And I'm absolutely delighted for him. I think he's been one of the signings of the season for Everton. He's been a sensational central defender. Probably pipped Michael Keane in my thinking in terms of Everton's best central defenders this season. Yeah, he's been a revelation and absolutely deserves to be in this squad. Rhys James also in there as well. Not a massive surprise, it has to be said. I also would probably, if we're taking 26, take Reece James. Harry Maguire has been included despite the fact he is injured. He has been named in the Manchester United Europa League squad, but I don't think he's going to play a single minute there, and this is a massive problem for England. He is our best defender. Make a meme of him all you want. I'm worried. If Harry Maguire's injured, we might be up shit's creek. Tyrone Mings is the next name on the list then. I wouldn't have taken Tyrone Mings in this 33. I would have gone for Ezri Konsa in there. I think if Ben Godfrey goes, Ezri Konsa certainly deserves to go. And I probably would have dropped Tyrone Mings for him. I think he's been called up maybe for a little bit more experienced. Obviously left-footed, that helps significantly, but I think he makes an awful lot of individual errors, Tyrone Mings. I would have taken Ezri Konsa in his place. Of course, Luke Shaw had to go, and he has to start in that left-back berth. John Stones, another starter at central defence. Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, two obvious names to be in a 33-man. I would still only take 3 right-backs in a 26-man squad. So one of Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, Rhys James and Trent have to miss out. Who would you drop out of those 4? Let me know in the comments below. For me, it would be Kieran Trippier right now. And that is probably a bit of Premier League bias showing through there. But I would go Kyle Walker, Reece James, Trent. And then an interesting name as well, Ben White getting a call up. That's fantastic for him, because he has played, I think, started 36 games this season in what's been a pretty solid Brighton defence. The problems for Brighton are at the other end of the pitch. Lewis Dunk might feel a little bit hard done by here, but I think Southgate's probably looking to the future more with this 33-man squad. I don't think Ben White will make the 26. I do think there's a couple of names missing from this defensive unit. I think Fikayo Tomori should have been in a 33-man squad, at least in the 33. He would probably been in my 26, such as has been his impressive second half of the season at AC Milan. 16 starts out there. Just listen to what Maldini's got to say about Fikayo Tomori, and you know he should be in this 33. Ezri Konsa should have been in the 33 for me, as I said earlier. I think Lewis Dunk may be a little bit unfortunate. Tarkowski may be a little bit unfortunate, but for me, I probably would have swapped out Connor Cody for Tomori and Tyrone Mings for Ezri Konsa. Those would be my first and obvious changes in that defensive unit. I've also just noticed there's no Eric Dyer in there. No Eric Dyer in the England squad. That is a huge call, and a correct call in my opinion. Tottenham have been absolutely whiffing at the back, quite frankly, this season. Eric Dyer's played, 38 games as a centre-back in all competitions this season. I wouldn't have taken him. I think he's taken a significant step back in his career, and I think Gareth Southgate's definitely made the right decision there. Also in this defensive unit, there's no Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which I think maybe is a little bit harsh. I think he has genuinely come on a lot in his forward and attacking game at Manchester United in the last 6 months. Everybody knows he's probably the best one-on-one defender England have available. And I'm a little bit gutted for him. But I agree with Southgate. I think I would take those 4 right-back options ahead of Aaron Wan-Bissaka right now. In the England setup, that is, and that's making it very clear. I think the way England want to play, Aaron Wan-Bissaka probably isn't ahead of those 4 in his reckoning, and you can't take 5 right-backs in a 33-man squad. That would be mental. So yeah, gutted for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but in my opinion, it's probably the right call. All right, let's move into the midfielders then. Jude Bellingham has to be in the 26-man squad. He's a contender to start with our injury issues. In my opinion, we've got massive injury issues in the centre of midfield with Jordan Henderson and now Calvin Phillips. Of course, looks like he had an injury. I think it was in the last couple of minutes, a shoulder dislocation potentially. Fingers crossed it's not a dislocation, because that probably rules him out. If it's not, and Leeds seem quite confident it's not, then he will be on the plane. As for Henderson, I have huge concerns here. Huge concerns. I think if Jordan Henderson can't play in either of those friendlies before the Euros, I wouldn't take him. I think playing no football since February is an absolute disaster, trying to shoehorn an unfit player into that team. I think he's a massively crucial player for us, and if he was fully fit, he would start every day for us. He's a leader, but there's no point taking injured players, in my opinion. So if he isn't fit, don't take him. Don't force it. Jesse Lingard, brilliant to see Jesse Lingard in the team, isn't it? And he absolutely deserves it. He's been a revelation at West Ham. What I will say about Lingard as well, and one of the reasons I think he might make the 26, is that because it's a bloated squad and a 26-man squad, I think quite a few players won't play at all. And Jesse Lingard, if he doesn't play at all is somebody who is massively loved by everybody in that England camp. And that goes a long way. I think people underestimate the need for positivity and good mood around the training ground. I think Jesse Lingard knits that squad together really nicely, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him make the 26. Mason Mount, of course, has to make the 26. Sensational. Calvin Phillips, as I said earlier, sweating on that shoulder injury because he will play in a double pivot. He absolutely will. And people always say, why don't we play someone else? Why don't we play Foden in a double pivot? Shut up. Shut up, you know my thoughts on that. Declan Rice, of course, he has to go. And James Ward-Prowse is in the 33. He would make the 26 if Jordan Henderson is injured for me. But I'm concerned that he replaces somebody like Jude Bellingham. If Ward-Prowse goes at the cost of Jude Bellingham, I wouldn't be too happy. Fine in the 33, but there's a bit of debate there for me because I think James Ward-Prowse is a much more limited player. Sure, we take him potentially for the set pieces, but do you want to take a player for set pieces who's not going to be on the pitch for 90% of the time? I'll be worried about that. I would start Bellingham over him. And I think Gareth is almost definitely going to start James Ward-Prowse at the Euros. Okay, so just thinking of players that have missed out in that midfield unit, then James Maddison has not been in it, and rightfully so, in my opinion. I think he's taken a bit of a step back in England's thinking, and his form hasn't been particularly great for Leicester, especially since he's come back from that injury. Harry Winks, not in there. Again, no surprise for me either. I think that's probably the correct decision in central midfield. Eric Dyer, I suppose, could play in there, but he's also not been included in the defensive unit. So I think I would have taken a very, very similar midfield unit to that. I don't think there's any players that I would have taken that have been missed out. Emile Smith-Rowe, no, not for me. So yeah, I think Gareth's got that midfield unit pretty much spot on in the 33-man squad. Some people might say Joe Willock, by the way. I forgot about him. I wouldn't have taken Joe Willock in the 33. Has had an exceptional end of the season, but I wouldn't have taken Joe Willock. Let's move on to the forwards then. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, obviously Dominic Calvert-Lewin has to be there, doesn't he? 16 Premier League goals this season. What he offers is something none of the other forwards offer. That athleticism aerially, his ability to chase into the channels. So yeah, I think that's an absolute no-brainer for the 26. Phil Foden, no-brainer for the 26. Jack Grealish, no-brainer for the 26. Mason Greenwood is an interesting one because I had a real debate on Twitter yesterday with a lot of people when I put out my provisional 26-man squad, and it didn't include Mason Greenwood, but I'm now thinking I might include Mason Greenwood. A lot of people have talked me round to the idea of putting him in the squad. Obviously, he had to make the 33. It would have been ridiculous not to include him in the 33. But the 26-man squad, I think he stands every shout. 9 goal involvements in his last 11 games, I think. And the point a lot of people on Twitter were making is he does offer something different in terms of right-wing directness to goal and cutting on that left foot, finishing ability that not many of our other wide players offer. And the fact that Danny Ings isn't in the squad suggests to me that Mason Greenwood stands a good chance of being on the plane in the 26, because I think in terms of these players listed right here, Mason Greenwood, behind Harry Kane, is the most natural finisher in the team. So I think he could go to the 26, and I think he would deserve it. Harry Kane, obviously, captain. Marcus Rashford, obviously 26. Bukayo Saka's an interesting one to be named in the 33, isn't he? Definitely deserves it. He's been sensational, and I think it might be a battle between him and Mason Greenwood as to who goes as sort of that extra forward on the right. I think I would go Greenwood just because he offers something different to Saka. And he offers something different to, Sancho or Foden, whoever else is going to play out on that right-hand side. So, yeah, I would go Greenwood. Jadon Sancho obviously has to be in the 26. What a player. Sterling has to be in the 26. And then Ollie Watkins. Nice to see him in the 33. I don't think he'll make the 26 now. But he has been capped. He has scored on his debut, which I think is always a good sign. And I'm pretty sure Gareth Southgate would trust him an awful lot. What he does offer you is superb hold-up play, sort of back to goal, his ability to run into the channels. He's going to press like mad. He's a pretty good finisher. He is an Exeter boy as well. But I think in terms of strikers, we can now see maybe it's Kane, then it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think then it's probably Rashford, then it's Greenwood, then it's Watkins in my head that Gareth is now thinking about, because, we haven't seen Patrick Bamford included in here. He scored 17 Premier League goals, so I don't think it's just going to be done on sort of volume of goals, his selection. So Ollie Watkins, rightfully in the 33, he's in the battle with Saka and Greenwood for that extra place, in my opinion, in the 26-man forward squad. I wouldn't hold it against him if he got in there, because he has had a sensational season. Patrick Bamford not included though. Danny Ings not included. And I think Patrick Bamford's probably the more unlucky of the two to not be included. I do think he runs the line brilliantly and is underrated in his pressing. Danny Ings, I think, has dropped off a little bit this year, mainly because of injury. I know that he still scored 12 goals, isn't he? And I'm sure that he's going to get a big move this summer, but I think Patrick Bamford has had a better season than Danny Ings, and even he can't get on the plane. There's also no Tammy Abraham, which I think would have shocked a lot of people at the start of the season, but probably doesn't shock a lot of people now. And sadly for Tammy, I think the arrival of Tuchel has probably caused this. I think Tuchel has opted to go down a different direction with his strikers, and Tammy Abraham needed to almost go out on loan. I know that it wouldn't have been possible because Tuchel arrived, I think, at the start of February, right, when the window was closed. So a little bit unfortunate for him there, but I'm not totally averse to this 33-man squad. I think Gareth's got a hard job cutting it down to 26, though. And when he does cut it down to 26, I'll probably do another We Need to Talk. Okay, so that was my live reaction to the England squad announcement. Now, the tournament is still over 2 weeks away. So as I said at the start, hit the like button and I will do a Euro 2020 predictions We Need to Talk special with the whole of Football Daily. Also, hit subscribe, comment your thoughts on this England squad, and we'll see you next time. Bye.